Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a brand new episode of the Division Z podcast. My name is Jason.
And I am K Cosmic.
This week on the podcast, once again, there hasn't been a lot of stuff to talk about. You know, it's kind of interesting how we had a lot of stuff to talk about for Shino Numa and the build up to Shino Numa and Vanguard and everything. There seemed like there was always something to talk about when we were doing that episode and even the episode before that. So there was there's a grace period of like 2 weeks that there was a lot of stuff to talk about, and now last week and this week there hasn't been a whole lot of news to talk about. Man, it's almost like everything just died overnight. What's going on with that?
I know, man. Like, it's especially when a zombie map's coming out, there's other stuff to talk about as well. Not just like what we know, what we possibly could think. We have theories. Obviously, Shino Numa Reborn is out. It's been out for a while now. We know everything that's kind of going on with the map and all that good stuff. We know it's pretty good and all that. So now we're just kind of like left waiting for new content. I'll tell you, man, I've been working so much this week. I've worked 4 days this week, right? And you want to know something? I think I was gonna roll right into this topic pretty well. You want to know who else has been working quite hard recently?
Yeah.
And now, supposedly for the next Call of Duty game, which is
absolutely
in brackets. Treyarch once again being pushed to work on a new Call of Duty game for the next year.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know what Cosmic is referring to there was a leak that was posted earlier, and this is going to be one of the topics for today's podcast. It's not zombies related per se, but I'm sure we'll get into zombies at some point. But I mean, just to divert a little bit here, you know, our podcast, you know, our origins are in Call of Duty Zombies, but we're going to talk about other gaming stuff too. We have to.
Yes.
But anyways, there was a report by a well-known leaker and someone who has been very credible before, who has, you know, been doing leaks and having maybe some sort of insider information, some sort of source. Anyways, they are saying that Treyarch is going to be working on Modern Warfare 2 for ranked play, and that's going to be a similar situation as to what happened with Vanguard, where Modern Warfare 2 is not going to be launching with ranked play, and it's going to be added later on, just like it was with Vanguard. Which, I mean, what can we say at this point? Treyarch is literally working nonstop. Like,
yes, they don't.
What is going on with Treyarch?
I mean,
they are just a powerhouse. Obviously, they're just doing the best they can to figure everything out, and they're working on Vanguard Zombies still. They're still working on ranked play for Vanguard. They're trying to work on their new title for 2024. If, you know, we believe the rumors that they're working on some sort of free-to-play title, you know, they got so much on their plate right now. And then you compare that to what's happening with Infinity Ward and Sledgehammer, and you go, what are they working on? Like, what is happening with those studios? You can arguably say that Raven is working on more things than studios like Sledgehammer and Infinity Ward, because Raven is constantly updating and maintaining Warzone with all the other sub-studios like High Moon and Toys for Bob. So what the hell is going on with the other studios, and why do you think Treyarch is the one who's always been like, hey, you know what, pick up the slack for these guys here, will ya? You know, what do you think about that?
Well, I think it's because Treyarch know how to get the job done. They'll get the job done when no one else will. And I think for ranked play, I think they've proven that they're pretty good at that and kind of working on that. But no, like you say, like, what are the other studios working on? Obviously, for Modern Warfare 2, Infinity Ward are going to be working on the campaign and multiplayer for the most part, I would imagine.
And the Spec Ops as well.
And the Spec... And the Spec Ops.
Hey, you know what?
Spec Ops 2. Spec Ops 2.
Hey, it could be good. It could be good. We don't know yet, you know? I mean, the last one really wasn't good at all, but
the last one was awful, so I don't know.
You know, give it a chance, right? Like we gave Shino Numa and Vanguard a chance. Give this a chance, maybe.
I mean,
we'll see.
Hopefully they kind of learned from their last one, well, Modern Warfare 2019's one, because
right.
Well, it wasn't that good. It wasn't that great.
Not at all.
But I mean, like, even looking at like Treyarch right now, right? You could argue that they're working on more than Sledgehammer are for their own game. So
yeah, they are.
I mean, zombies, ranked play, like you're saying. I mean, I'm sure they're working on other stuff as well. I get the only thing you could probably argue Sledgehammer is doing is, well, campaign, which I don't think we can use anymore because the game's been out for so long. So I think we can say, yeah, they made the campaign, but everyone who's probably going to play it has played it. I know obviously new people play it every day, but you get what I mean, right? The
No,
main
I get
selling
what you
point
mean.
for the game for their part is
I think
done.
I think the clarification is what the launch content and then the post launch content, because campaign never gets post launch content, and that's another thing that I think is criminal for Call of Duty. Just real quick to interject. Campaign never gets any post-launch DLC or any post-launch missions for Call of Duty, and I think that's absolutely criminal, especially with how good, let's say, for example, the Black Ops Cold War campaign was. I think that's one of the best campaigns we've had, and that there was no extra DLC for that campaign in particular, where you had side missions solving ciphers like Pawn Takes Pawn, and like the whole mystery and stuff surrounding the Cold War and the shrouded in secrecy and conspiracy. There could have been so many more opportunities for all like the newer multiplayer maps that came out to directly tie into these covert operations for the campaign, because you literally have, for example, Diesel, a gunfight map that was in one of those side missions that not a lot of people played, unfortunately, but it was one of those things where you solve the cipher, you unlock the mission, you uncover more Cold War conspiracies. And then you could have had maybe maps like Echelon and Apocalypse tie into that too as their own like DLC missions. So I think it's absolutely criminal that the Call of Duty campaigns don't get DLC, especially the Black Ops Cold War campaign. That one deserved DLC. But go ahead and say what you were going to say.
Well, first of all, 100%. The campaigns, I feel like definitely do deserve DLC. And something else I believe it deserves, and it's only been done like twice, is the co-op mode. 100%. I feel like it needs that to have that more replay value so you can play with your friends. Something else I thought would be pretty cool, not necessarily something they would ever do, but imagine if you had a co-op campaign, but you split off into do your own separate side missions as well. So imagine you're playing the story and then you get separated and you all have to, you're still connected to the same kind of like game or server and your chats and whatever. But you have to do your own individual missions to get out of a certain situation to meet back up.
That's
How cool would that be, first of all, right? But
give me a little bit of Rucked vibes there, a little bit with the different starting points, right?
Different starting points, exactly. But no, a campaign DLC definitely needs it. But going back to the fact that Sledgehammer haven't done much, I mean, they've done a bit, and I'm sure it's not all their fault because again, I think they get I think they just have really bad luck because they're working on Cold War first of all, right? Whatever that game was supposed to be. And then they were moved because they didn't get along with Raven or whatever. And then they were made to... I mean, to be fair, right? Vanguard, for what it is, I mean, it could have been worse. I mean, if they had the same amount of time to make it that Treyarch had to make Cold War, I mean, it's fair enough. But Treyarch obviously, again, came in clutch and made a great game. I mean, I know the multiplayer is a bit like... People either love it or hate it.
Right.
I'm kind of like in the middle for it. But... No, I think Treyarch just pick up the broken pieces that the other studios leave behind occasionally, and I think this is an example of, again, obviously it's not going to be zombies. They've already said zombies isn't happening.
Right.
They don't want to bring that into their game, even though all the stories are connected now. So, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, we're going to wait for zombies for 2024, but I think when you're talking about they occasionally pick up the pieces, they are, like, there's no occasional anymore. This is like literally the standard for them now, where, oh, well, this studio is developing stuff and this is supposed to be their game, but let's bring on a major studio to help them out with this, which theoretically wouldn't be that bad of a thing to do, right? Because if you have a studio who's really good at something, make them work on something. And I get the whole concept, right? I think the whole problem here is that like Treyarch is almost like that over milked cow where I'm
gonna keep milking you.
It kind of is though. Like like you said before, where they had to pick up the slack for Sledgehammer for Black Ops Cold War, they had a quick turnaround with that and made one of the best Call of Duty games in my humble opinion. And they added their own Treyarch flair to that, and the Dark Ether storyline was really good. Yeah, I really like their iteration of Gunfight. I talked about the campaign as well. I could honestly go on about Cold War. And then with Vanguard, obviously, they had to pick up zombies, and then they obviously had to pick up ranked play, which you could honestly debate that Vanguard zombies... How do I say this? Vanguard zombies, like with Sledgehammer, potentially Sledgehammer tried to make their own zombies again, and then Activision was like, yeah, no, this isn't happening. And then literally the same situation with Black Ops Cold War happened. But now instead of the entire game, it's only half the game because they're like, well, shit, Sledgehammer has to release a product with their name on it, right? Because we have these 3 studios and, it's, people have to have something different every year, right? And it's almost like a cope in a way for Activision. And it's like more than half the game is Treyarch at this point, but it just has Sledgehammer's name on it. It's like the group project with everyone doing the homework. And, you know, Sledgehammer started out as the kid at the beginning who was like, "Oh yeah, this is cool. I'm gonna do so much for this project." And then Treyarch came along and took over most of it, and then now this feels like a Treyarch game, but it also doesn't feel like a Treyarch game because of how Sledgehammer made this game and the systems that are in this game that make it feel clunky, and Treyarch having to work with a new engine for the first time, and things just don't really cohesively fit well. I know I did a really poor job at explaining my point, but I hope people out there understand what I'm talking about here.
Now I'll tell you something, right? I find it funny that Sledgehammer, despite having a zombies game mode in 3 of their games, has only worked on 1 of them. Because they didn't work on Exo Zombies, because that was Raven, and they didn't work on Vanguard Zombies.
You know?
So that means they only worked on World War II Zombies.
That's an interesting thought. That is a very interesting thought.
I never thought like that before, to be honest. So I mean, like, yeah, I know a lot of people say like, "Oh, Sledgehammer messed up, you know, Exo Zombies, or they have so many bad zombie games." But like, they only technically worked on the 1, and I mean, the Final Reich is a pretty good launch map in terms of like design and stuff, and you know, boss fights and visuals and that. Don't get me wrong; you can say what you want about the Darkest Shore or the Darkest Snore, as I'd like to call it. Or any of that maps. But I mean, yeah, that's a weird thought, to be honest. They made the same amount of games. Well, they've made the same amount of zombie games as IW or Infinity Ward has.
Like, but what does that tell you, though? Right? Like, what is going on internally at Sledgehammer that they, for some reason, cannot finish a game, right? And like, that's not to say that they haven't finished a game, right? I'm saying this in the sense of like the majority of their games haven't been entirely them, right? Yeah. Whereas you can look back and you can look at a game, you mentioned Infinite Warfare. You can look back at a game like Infinite Warfare and go, yeah, that's an Infinity Ward title. And yes, Treyarch did work on Infinity Ward as well, but they didn't make a whole fucking game mode. That's the point we're trying to get across here, where yes, of course, I think it's at this point it's very obvious that every studio works on every Call of Duty game in some capacity. But when you are literally telling a studio, hey, I know this is Sledgehammer's game, but Treyarch, can you make half of it, i.e. Vanguard? Well, I think there's a problem there, and you know, depending on who you believe and depending on what kind of sources you believe out there, you know, Sledgehammer expanded their studios for a different project. Now, it's not disputable that they didn't expand, because they did expand. They did expand their studios. They opened up a bunch of different studios around the world. But other people are saying, well, they expanded that because they're working on a different project, and they're working on the free-to-play and not Treyarch, and they're actually doing it. So that's why Vanguard is so clunky, and it's like, okay, maybe, but at this point, when we see Activision going back to Treyarch and going like, hey, Treyarch, fix this. Hey, Treyarch, work on this. Hey, Treyarch, do this. You have so many things on Treyarch's table right now that, you know, it's a little bit concerning. And I know a lot of people out there, you see it all the time with DK Dynamite. They're like, oh, you guys are just Cold War shills, and you guys are just Treyarch shills and whatever, right? Treyarch is literally the studio that has been working the most recently. And they have been consistently putting out the most content that has been considered good for modern Call of Duty games. And I think, generally speaking, more people could agree that what Treyarch puts out is good. Now, of course, Duran Fong, Terra Maledicta, a little bit shaky there. But there's also other external factors that are involved there. Yeah. And, you know, with Black Ops Cold War, I feel like this might be a hot take, but I feel like the majority of people out there would actually prefer Black Ops Cold War over Modern Warfare 2019 and Vanguard together.
Yeah, I think in terms of the general game,
it just seems like it to me.
Yeah, I think in terms of the general game, definitely. I think Cold War definitely offers a lot in terms of campaign, multiplayer, and zombies. I do know a lot of people feel that, like, there are a lot of people that aren't a big fan of how Cold War feels, if you get what I mean. A lot of people really like the Modern Warfare engine, and the fact that the game is like just you can just move so fast in it.
Oh, and of course, you know, the campers love that game too.
Yeah, obviously, right? So You got a lot of play styles in that, and oh no, you don't. You have two. You have the guy that runs 20 miles an hour going. You
have the guy that snorted 20 grams of G Fuel, constantly YYing, slide canceling around the map, trying to fry everybody with an MP5, and then you got little Timmy in the corner who just sits sits in the corner with the 725, and he's never moved. He's never explored the other side of the map at all.
Shield on his back.
Yeah, I mean those are the two kinds of Modern Warfare players, and I come at me. Tell me I'm wrong. Yeah. Like, literally look at all the videos on Modern Warfare, right? You have so many people who are, I will give them credit for what it's worth. They're really fucking good at the game. So you have those kinds of players, right, who are just high on G Fuel and constantly just frying everybody. And then you got the people, because Modern Warfare's playstyle is so catered to the newer player and it's so catered to the camper, just like Vanguard is. You just had people just camping corners. Yeah, the 725 riot shield, the fucking R90 with the Dragon's Breath rounds. Like, tell me I'm wrong. I tell me I'm wrong, because I know I'm not. I know I'm not.
I mean, I think again, this is where I might get roasted for this. I think Treyarch are the best studio at balancing their games as well. I mean, I like to look at Black Ops 4, right? And I think Black Ops 4 in general is a pretty good balanced game. And I know that DLC weapons are always overpowered and the VMP's broken in the game. But I think in terms of, like, for first of all, the specialists, I think they're all useful for their one sort of task, and you can go any of them and make them, like, do something positive for your team, whether they're a healer, what's his name? Not Crash. Crash is the guy that gives you ammo. I can't remember his name. But you have someone that can heal. You have someone that can, hack equipment. You have, all these. It's balanced, though, because it's not like everyone can play these characters. There's limits to them and that. And with some of the guns as well, there are also limits with what they can do. For example, I think in Modern Warfare, all the shotguns can have your incendiary rounds, right? Like, it can just be like the fire bullets.
Not in Modern Warfare, but in Vanguard.
In Vanguard, okay. Well, there's that, for example, right? In Black Ops 4, there was only one gun that could have that, the MOG, which was the Dragon's Breath. So you had these little things here and there to balance it out. And they weren't easy. You had to sacrifice a lot to have these attachments. So you couldn't have 18 attachments on your weapon. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I think it's cool that you can customize your gun to the extent where you can have it so it's like a completely different weapon. If you want something close range and fast, you can have even your AK-47, you can make that, the AK.
Just convert your AK-47 to a 74U. I mean, like, why not?
You can make that, right? And it's cool, and it's cool that you can do that, but at the same time, so many balancing issues comes with that as well, where they just can't counter certain, I don't know. I think it gives them a lot of broken guns in the game as well, which you just can't really sort out. But meanwhile, in Black Ops 4. And I guess kind of like Black Ops 3 and Black Ops 2. Every Black Ops game has pretty well balanced guns and maps and stuff. It just feels like it's a lot more.
Yeah.
I don't know. They thought about gameplay and stuff, and they didn't want the game to be an absolute chaotic.
It's almost like they kind of wanted to have their cake and eat it too with the attachment system, because you have, particularly for Vanguard, I notice, where because you can have 10 attachments on your weapon, there are these particular attachments that are just considered meta, and you'll see 80% of the players just using those attachments, and a lot of those attachments are unlocked at the super high levels too, which having all the weapon levels at level 70 is ridiculous, because nobody wants to grind all of that out. And when it's kind of weird, because with Vanguard being also kind of new player friendly, with all these hidey holes and the camping spots and all these little rat areas in some of these maps, having the player trying to figure out their attachment combinations for their STG or their MP40 or something is honestly rough for a lot of people to figure out. Well, what do I do here? And then you have all these other players who are meta decked out, and they found the meta and they're already frying everybody, and it just kind of, it's weird. It's kind of a weird imbalance in a way, where you have all these attachments, but then 80% of the players will only use 5% of those attachments, because that's considered meta. And I think a lot of the gameplay, I think what they maybe tried to do with the multiple attachment system is oh, look at all these different ways you can customize your gun. Look at all these ways you can play the game differently. And then when you look at the Call of Duty community, they say they want change, and then they'll just go back and playing the same thing over and over, right? They'll go back to playing, like, oh, well, these are the attachments. This is the meta. If you don't do this, you're weird, and, blah, 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 right? And I don't know. It's just kind of weird to me that...
I mean,
it's almost like a disconnect to me. I don't know if any of that made sense, but...
No, I hear what you're saying. It's kind of like, well, I mean... with COD, right? Again, so there's so many things you can do to one weapon. There's so many like different factors. Well, there's games like Valorant. I've been playing a lot of Valorant recently, and you get your gun and that's it. There's no enhancements to it. You have your sniper, and that's what it does. It doesn't go any faster, any slower. It's that speed unless they change it, and they have it at that speed for a reason. Kind of makes you think like, what if COD like stripped down the fundamentals and had like just a basic, you have your gun. You choose your grenade and you just go into it. Like, no, I know perks and that are important and fun. It gives it the variety, right? COD should never go to that state of like, no attachments or anything like that. Because
I mean, you're basically describing like Black Ops 1 multiplayer in a way, right? Like,
well, think of that. I think for going forward, right? I think they need to focus less on gun attachments and perks. I think they need to focus more on perks even. Is what I personally believe. I think we can recall back to the Call of Duty Ghost system they had, where you had your primary weapon, you have 2 attachments on it, and then a third attachment if you wanted. And with it as well, it was kind of like Modern Warfare in a way in Cold War. You could only have certain barrels on and all that. Like you could have there's certain rows, and you could choose one attachment for that row.
Right.
And then for let's say your barrel, for example, right? You could have one from that, and then your sight, you had one from that, and then you could have like one other attachment. Because I mean, if you strip down the guns a little and then don't give them a set, because there's so many attachments as well that do nothing in the grand scheme of things, and they're just putting them in the game to show, look how you can customize your gun. Like
pretty much.
There's no point in them being there. So focus on the attachments that are going to make a difference. Fast mag, for example. Have fast mag on your gun, have silencers, have all that. But I think they could strip back to a lot of like the clutter that's actually in the game. And then I feel like focusing on the perks would be like better. I think they need to redo the perk system.
That's a good point. That's a good point. I mean, you literally said it there with they have so many attachments in the game with level 70 with all these weapons, right? And half these attachments are just absolutely freaking terrible. Like, there is no reason in my mind for a Call of Duty game, okay, and this is mainly for a Call of Duty game because in real life, this would be actually kind of cool to go do this for target practice or hunting or something, have a 10 times scope on an assault rifle in Call of Duty. No one's going to use that. Literally nobody's going to use that unless it's like a challenge run or something like that where it's like, I'm going to use the worst attachments ever. It's literally there just to be there. And it's like, well, Look how unique this is. Look at the Type 99 10 times scope here. Oh, a sniper scope on an AR, and it's like, okay, yeah, I kind of get what you're going for here, but if it's terrible, it's terrible, and don't add things just to add them, right?
Yeah.
Like, and it's not even like a bad thing necessarily that there's sniper scopes on assault rifles, but when there's like 5 different kinds. Like, who cares?
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
that's the thing with like Modern Warfare, right? Modern Warfare wasn't as egregious with that, but like Modern Warfare had literally a thing called a sniper scope. I remember using a literal attachment called sniper scope on the M4, and then you had your other attachments like, okay, 2.5 magnification, maybe like a 3 times magnification, but like Vanguard. It's literally a 10 times magnification, 7 times magnification. Here's a 4 to 8 times magnification. Oh, here's a 5 times. Like, I don't need to zoom in that much. Just give me like one sniper scope if you want to do that. Like, it just seems so unnecessary.
I think as well, right? And I don't know, because variety. First of all, variety is the spice of life, and I think we should always say that and keep that as it is. But at the same time. Again,
at the same time, it goes back to quality versus quantity.
Yeah, exactly, right? And I believe personally, right, if you have certain attachments where they're not spammed across, even if they're on like the AR attachments, for example, right? I think having different sights exclusive to different weapons, first of all, makes you want to go for that weapon more, and it gives the weapons a bit more personality as well. If you get, I mean, like BO4 weapons, right? Say what you want about them. but most of them all had something quite unique about them.
The operator mods.
The operator mods, right? And don't get me wrong, there's a few where you didn't have them, but then with them they had like double rapid fire.
Exactly.
Like what was it called? The SMG. You could dual wield it. The SOG. SOG, right?
Yeah.
Like, well, there you go. For example, that there, like
SOG 9mm, dude. The magazine that you just like reload in half a second.
Yeah,
that was like one of the best attachments ever.
Coordinate. You added it with the infinite ammo stock.
The Cordite, the belt feed. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we had it with the infinite ammo in multiplayer, at least not in zombies, but still cool.
Yeah, it was in zombies.
Yeah, it was in zombies, but it didn't give you infinite ammo.
It wasn't as good to me personally in zombies, that particular operated mod, mainly because it overheats, and I like. I don't want it to overheat in zombies, and then I have to like fix my gun in the middle of running away from zombies and things like that. So that was my main reason why I don't like that one particularly for zombies. Cool. I mean, it's a cool animation. Yeah, they're like, it's like trying to fix it.
Yeah,
it's kind of weird to me. It's like, it's like it's overheated, but then the guy's like,
just trying to like, why is this mag not working?
why is my gun not working? He's got to take it to a gunsmith. But yeah, I mean, I guess long story short, talking about attachments and all that, right? I don't mind there being a good quantity of attachments for gameplay variety that promotes a healthy gameplay variety. And that's the key word there, a healthy gameplay variety. Don't just add shit for the sake of adding shit and being like, whoa, guys, there's over 70 weapon levels, and this is like crazy, and you can have so many attachments, and then half the attachments are just garbage, or they do the same thing as as a different attachment, right? Yeah. I can't even tell you how many times I've scrolled through the attachments, and I remember there are these two particular scopes that are literally the same thing. They just look a little bit differently, where it's one of those hybrid scopes where you have your more circular scope, and then you can turn your gun and have like Canton sights on the side, and it'll be like a slate reflector or something that's attached to that like longer range scope. So it'll be like that, and then a copy paste of that with the exact same stats, and it's like, why do I need two of these in the game?
Yeah,
just so they can market that there's 70 weapon levels and there's so much to earn and there's so much to do. If so much to earn means I gotta spend 6 fucking hours on one gun and not play the rest of the game and not play with the rest of the guns, I'm gonna be frustrated, right? Now that might sound like the casual talking, like, oh, well, you're just a casual, Call of Duty, like the metas and all that, you gotta sweat your ass off and you gotta like go. It's like, bro, you don't have to sweat your ass off every time in a game.
No.
I don't know who has to hear this, but you do not need to play every single game of Modern Warfare, of Vanguard, of Cold War, whatever, sweating your balls off every single time. Do you play to play for fun?
No, I play to win.
It's like
that's the loser.
I'm genuinely confused with that too. Like,
yeah, I mean, that's the thing is, right? You get a lot of these people that are sweating, right? But it's like in dominations, they're going for kills and they end up losing anyway. Like, I got 50 kills, but I still lost the game.
Well, they'll be upset that the game ended because like I can't get more kills. And it's like, maybe call me an objective player because I'm a big objective player. But
I was 22 kills on nuke. Come on, man.
Which is the thing, nukes are impressive in and of themselves. Which I understand why people want to go for them, and it's a good feat.
Then fair enough. Yeah,
I just feel like with a lot of how this community perceives content creators and how this community like is just easily swayed, particularly to particular things, is they see everybody being like, well, if I'm like super sweaty and I'm super good, then I'm gonna magically get a contract overnight. Which the thing is, if being good at the game and doing esports and like competitive Warzone, competitive COD, that's like something you really want to do. Being good at the game is a huge part of it, but there's so many other factors to it too. You can't just be good at the game. You have to like network, and you have to like get in the space, and you have to get in with people, and you have to start making content, and you have to start, doing all of that, which, it's hard to do. It's not an easy thing to do, but you got to like do extra things about it. And I don't know, man. To me, when I just see so many people out there who are just super sweaty, every lobby I encounter, there's always some kind of like sweaty, try-hard player. It really alienates those who want to like play the game to play the game. And that's why people are so they feel disenfranchised from Call of Duty anymore, because they feel like their series doesn't have an identity. They feel like it's trying to appeal to everybody all at once, but it can't.
Yeah.
And I think that's just, it's a problem that, what's the solution? I don't know, to be honest with you guys. I know people are like, well, what's the solution then, smart ass? Well, you know what? I don't know the solution quite yet. And it's still something that I'm thinking about. It's still something that, it's a tricky question to think about, because who do you market this game to? Do you market it to casuals? Well, if you market it to casuals, we were complaining about this earlier, campers, people who are just playing really strangely, all these maps are catered towards these campers, and it ruins the flow of the maps. Do you cater it to the competitive scene? Well, then everyone's going to be a tryhard, and it'll alienate people who want to hop on the game and just play for an hour. And then no one wants to play that game, and the numbers go down. So what kind of middle ground do you find? And how do you find that middle ground is a very tough question.
Yeah, I mean, I think the important thing is you're never going to appeal to like everyone in terms of like what you're going to do with your game and stuff. But like, it's just, again, like you're saying, it's just hard to find where the middle ground is for stuff.
Yeah, especially for Call of Duty.
Yeah, if you get what I mean, because it's such like there's so many like play styles and variety of players, and I mean, there's people that love games and other people that hate them. Like there's some people that would like love Black Ops 4, and there's others that hate them. Hate Black Ops 4.
Right.
So there's not really like a middle ground for like you love something and hate something. You get what happens is you get in the middle, and it's a mediocre game for both. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it's hard to find that kind of like middle ground and stuff. Yeah, man. I mean, I just want a good COD game. I mean, I hope Modern Warfare 2 is good. I'm sure it will be for multiplayer. Kind of makes me sad that we have to wait for so long for more zombie stuff, though.
It is sad. It is sad to wait.
Unless we get stuff sooner, but at the same time, it's like, is that going to happen?
I mean, I guess the whole reason why we're even talking about this in the first place, because of the rumor of Treyarch being the studio working on ranked play for Modern Warfare 2, which I don't know, man. Ranked play in Vanguard, as fun as it is kind of broken. I'm not gonna lie. I got this really unfortunate story for ranked play. All my ranked play players out there are gonna shed a tear when they hear this.
No.
So I was playing ranked play the other day on stream, and we beat the enemy team 6-2. Really good game of search and destroy. I played the objective really well. Got a couple bomb plants there.
Very nice.
I lost 29 points. It took me down a rank.
Why?
Because I don't know. Who knows? It just
does it not explain?
Nope. It just says nope. Minus 29. 29, and we won the game 6-2 on Search and Destroy Berlin.
Well, Jason.
And I was playing the objective. I was being a good objective player. A lot of people don't do that in ranked play, by the way. I'm a slayer, man. I like slaying out. And then like they don't play the objective, and then they lose, and they're like, oh, my teammates are ass. And it's like, bro, you didn't even play the objective. 60 kills means nothing if they're not meaningful kills. So yeah, that's what happened to me the other day, and I couldn't believe it. So it's like, Treyarch, if you're gonna make ranked play for Modern Warfare 2, fix that.
I think I know why. It must just be because you're bad at the game.
I'm just bad.
That's my only conclusion that I can think. It's just you're not good at the game. You didn't play well. You did the objectives, but you failed the objectives. Man, I mean, I don't know what to tell you.
I'm just bad. I just gotta get good, I guess.
You just gotta stop being lazy. You gotta start committing, and you gotta start being better at the game. You need more than doing 6-2. You need to get no deaths. You need to lose no rounds.
Okay.
I mean,
6-0, drop a nuke. I mean, drop a nuke and search and destroy, even though it's not physically possible, but drop a nuke and search and destroy.
Yeah, drop a nuke and search and destroy, and then come talk to us. And maybe
all for like 2 points.
You lost 27. We're gonna give you 2 more after that game. 2 more points up.
Yeah, I just couldn't believe it, man. After that, I was like, no, I'm ending the live stream. This isn't it.
I think we should start running our society on a point system. And the way you get points is by playing Vanguard rank play. The more points, the better. It means you're the better person. It means you get things for cheaper. It means that, you get more respect. The lower points you get, it means you pay a little bit extra. That bus driver doesn't pick you up. He doesn't wait for you. He drives off. That's how a society should be run from now on. And I think that's perfect because you, my friend, with your minus 27, minus 27 points, I don't think you would get along too well.
Oh no, I'm not gonna get along too well. Oh damn, that sucks.
So yeah, on that note, maybe that system won't be too good. Maybe Vanguard needs to improve on the rank play. I'm sorry that you lost your 27 points, but I mean,
it happens, I guess. I mean, the thing is too, with Treyarch having to like scrounge everything together for ranked play too is a little bit upsetting to think about. Where it's like, this could have been better, right? And then, I mean, at the same time too, like Vanguard's ranked play, competitive play in Vanguard, I will admit, is actually fun to watch. Watching the Call of Duty League and watching all the matches is actually really entertaining. Playing it is a different story, where playing it can be very frustrating a lot of the times, because I'm of the belief that like 2 out of the 5 maps that are in the rotation currently for ranked play are terrible. Those being Desert Siege and Gavudu. I used to kind of like Gavudu, but at playing it more, it's just become a pain in the ass, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Bocage, Berlin, and Tuscan are like the only good maps to me in that. And they're honestly some of the only good maps in the game in general. And I don't know, man. It's just kind of weird, especially the spawns. Spawns are completely broken, especially on like a map like Tuscan. You could literally spawn in behind the enemy just because I don't know why, you just do. So that's a little bit frustrating, but hey, you know what? If Treyarch can make a ranked play that is good for Modern Warfare 2, okay, great, awesome,
Fair
wonderful.
enough.
I just hope they don't get overworked, and I hope they don't lose production time on 2024. That's my only concern, because then they're going to have to maintain ranked play throughout 2023, right? So I just hope they don't lose too much production time, or, oh, well, we couldn't add this little feature to COD 2024 because we were working on this over here. So that's my only concern with that, to be honest. But I'm actually not my only concern, but the main concern, because obviously 2024 is going to be their game, and we want them to like
knock it out of the park,
right? The sequel to the Dark Ether storyline, the sequel to the Black Ops Cold War campaign,
I mean, the thing is, so right, and I want a direct continuation, but from the sounds of things, it just sounds like it's gonna be like Black Ops 2 era. Like, again, it's from the leaks and stuff, right? But then even that is I mean, I don't know like how real these are. It could be completely just fake. So don't quote me on this. I don't know if you've seen it, but did you see the supposed leak photos from the next Black Ops game that came out because they were in a file on Warzone?
I didn't see the images, but I do know that people are data mining COD Mobile and are finding all of this information about what kind of guns are in Modern Warfare 2, and even what kind of guns are in Black Ops 2024.
Yeah, well, there you go. There's maps that have been leaked as well.
It's crazy.
I took a peek. I took a little look, and a lot of them look like the Black Ops 2 vibe-ish. It's weird. Like I don't know. I don't know how they're continuing from the story that they have there in Cold War. It'll be the case. Obviously, I mean, they've done it before. Black Ops 1 and Black Ops 2. Those are like how many years apart? Like a good 40 whatever years. So I mean 40. Yeah, 40. Yeah, maybe, I don't know. So I don't know.
I mean, that's the thing, man. They could definitely go with the I think they could go with the whole thing. They should just call this game Black Ops 2025. And the reason why is because if this whole storyline is supposed to be like a soft reboot, and I'm saying like soft reboot in the sense of like not the entire franchise is actually being rebooted, but like some of it, where Black Ops 1 is still canon, World at War is still canon, and like, but we don't know about Black Ops 2 or Black Ops 3 if those are still canon or anything, right? Like the modern to future eras of Call of Duty, and now I guess World War II eras of Call of Duty because of Vanguard, are being like slightly rebooted just a little bit. So if they're going to like, do the Black Ops 2 kind of a thing, and like maybe not redo the Black Ops 2 campaign, but like have a side story to the Black Ops 2 campaign, it could be something very similar to it.
You know what they could do? They could do exactly what they did with Cold War and make a game in between Black Ops 2 and Black Ops 4. Because in terms of like story timelines.
Okay, I'd be down with that.
Because I'm pretty sure, like, theoretically, in terms of like story and stuff, I'm pretty sure that Black Ops 2 and all the Treyarch games are canon. Like, all of them are canon. I'm pretty sure World at War is technically canon, right? Because it has to be because of all the tie-ins to from Black Ops 1 and stuff. Right? They're all in the same universe, right? I'm trying to think, is there a way to connect? I mean, I know there's not any references to like Black Ops 2, obviously, because that's the next game in the future, right? So we haven't, in all the other games, we haven't obviously explored that time period. But when Modern Warfare 2 comes out, I'm sure we'll get teasers and tastes of certain things from like Frank Woods and stuff,
right?
Possibly. Again, I don't know, because obviously Woods is so old at this time. You know what I mean? He's in his wheelchair. He's making funny jokes, and
What if they pull what they did with Woods on Adler in the next game, where Adler's the one in the wheelchair now? It's like this like kind of George Lucas thing where it's like, oh, like it's poetry, it rhymes, and it's almost like the paying homage to the previous iterations, but then it's like their kind of new thing, maybe something like that. All I know is that Avenged Sevenfold should come back and like do a zombie song.
They absolutely should.
I'm gonna be honest, actually, where the hell did Avenged Sevenfold go? Like, as someone who's a fan of Avenged Sevenfold, I have like not heard anything from them at all. Like, what's going on with them? I know I think they were supposed to go on tour, and then the pandemic and all of that happened. So I think they were supposed to go on tour. They were supposed to do something, and then the pandemic happened. But I want to see them make another zombie song, though. I think that'd be really dope.
Yeah, honestly, they know how to make good songs, and I mean, it's just, can we take a second to appreciate every song that COD Zombies has in it? Pretty much. Right. I mean, each of them are pretty much bangers. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's the one from Moon that wasn't too great. I mean, I wasn't a fan of the Moon one, but
I mean, the Moon one's not bad.
I mean, each to their own. Each to their own. I'm just not a fan of it. But I think my favorite, and I want to hear your favorite as well. I think Alone has to be my favorite.
It's pretty good.
Because I mean, just to start, like the the guitar solo bit at the start. I think that is just such like a cool, like it's such a.
I mean, hey, Kevin Sherwood and all of them are really talented over there at the Treyarch team. They know what the hell they're doing too. But I gotta say though, where did Avenged Sevenfold go? I can actually tell you.
Where'd they go?
Posted 1 day ago by Metal Injection. Avenged Sevenfold recording vocals for new album.
Well, they are.
There they are. Avenged Sevenfold is recording new music. Big brain time. This coincides. They got to record the vocals. They got to write the songs, record the vocals, get everything mixed and mastered. They have a song. They have an album release in 2023, and one of those songs on that album becomes one of the zombie songs for 2024 for Treyarch. Because like we have with Shepherd of Fire, right? Shepherd of Fire is in Origins, right? But it wasn't like made for Origins. Same thing with like Nightmare. You can play like Nightmare is also in Zombies. That wasn't made for zombies, but you can also play Nightmare.
Yeah.
But then you have other songs like Not Ready to Die, which are literally made for zombies, and Mad Hatter, that was made for zombies. But that's gonna be my guess. That's my prediction. Avenged Sevenfold, their new album that they're recording right now, one of those songs is gonna be in 2024 because of their ties with Treyarch and zombies and
I think so.
Whatever.
Yes.
I think this lines up pretty perfectly, actually.
I mean, absolutely. It has to be. I mean, it'd be a shame if not, because they just have so much. I think first of all, they're great at what they do. The nostalgia factor is like, oh my god, because I mean, yeah, we did. I mean, because we really like kind of like grew up with these, this music, like these iconic songs that are in like zombies in
True.
general. So again, it'd be a shame if it wasn't in the next game. I mean, like you're saying, you'd think it would be. So I
think
mean,
it has to be.
praying, man. I'm praying.
Because now you have we skipped an entire game without an Avenged Sevenfold song, right?
Yeah.
So as good as Black Ops Cold War is, it would have been kind of cool to have an Avenged Sevenfold song in Black Ops Cold War, but I think it's long overdue. It's been since Black Ops 4 since we've had a zombie song for Call of Duty. And again, like I said, the song doesn't necessarily have to be produced for zombies. It could just be one of their songs on the new album that Treyarch goes, hey, can we have the licensing for it? And we want to make this the Easter egg song on our new map,
And they say yes.
So, yeah. I feel like I think there's a good chance of that.
Definitely. I mean, yeah, man. Again, I think there's so much appreciation towards like all the songs that we've had in COD Zombies, because
for sure.
I don't know, because there's just so many like certified hood classics. I mean,
certified hood classics.
So I mean, you got 115, right? Which is a banger. Sorry, there's a fly in my monitor. Go away. Go. Is that you, Jason? There's a fly in my monitor, and it's over you. What? But I mean, yeah, no, COD Zombies. I hope they knock out of the park with the next game as well for songs at least.
Yeah.
I feel like,
yeah.
I mean, I think in Cold War they were okay as well, but I mean, Mauer Toten, did it even have like an actual one?
You know what, man? I'm gonna be honest, I don't remember.
It doesn't. It has like a popular song as its thing, and then I think what's it? Oh my god, how have I forgotten the name?
Which map are you, Forsaken or Firebase Z?
Oh, Forsaken. It's Forsaken. For some reason, I didn't think it was the name of the map, because obviously Forsaken is the big bad guy.
The big bad guy, of course.
Yeah. So no, but what's it? I mean, that one had a cool combination of old Easter egg like songs in a way, or like end screen songs if you listen to it. And that one isn't super like, it's not amazing, but it's a good song to finish off on. There's no singing in it, but it's a cool beat to listen to.
Yeah, it's kind of like, kind of reminds me of like Shinonuma and Vanguard. Another classic zombie song is in Shinonuma for Vanguard, but it's only the instrumental and it's not the vocals. So I don't know if they like lost the rights to have the vocals or something, but the one is in Vanguard, but it's only the instrumental. Obviously, I have Lullaby of a Dead Man, all of those classic songs. Beauty of Annihilation.
I actually just remembered something. I don't know if you've seen this, but have you seen what was it? I have it in my head. So the voice actor for Richtofen, for those of you that don't know, had a response to a fan, and he said in it, yes, that was the doctor that you seen at the end of Cold War. The doctor never goes away. He's all. I'll try and find the clip. I mean, if I can find it, we can post it on here.
Oh,
it was like one of his, not his cameo things, but like it's
Was it like at a convention or something like that?
No, let me find it. If I can.
This is interesting. So he spoke directly of Richtofen in Cold War, didn't? Huh?
Yeah. So he says he's like, because he did it in the Richtofen voice as well. He's like, yes, it was the doctor that you seen. The doctor never goes away. And all that. And yeah, I mean, so he acknowledges it. He says it is him. So,
okay. I mean, that to me confirms that he's coming back for 2024. I mean, if he, I mean, yeah, he's coming back for 2024. Absolutely. That I think that's him confirming it without him actually outright saying it. Because obviously he wouldn't outright say it because of obvious reasons. But wow, okay, that's exciting. That's really exciting now.
Let me try and find it.
But here's what's interesting about that, actually, because Yeah, this is Richtofen, but I think that we're gonna see a really different version of Richtofen, though.
Oh,
I think we're gonna see like almost like a mix between Ultimus and Primus Richtofen, I think, because if you look at the intel from Cold War, he's kind of an asshole when it comes to like Samantha, and he's tortured her and all that kind of stuff, and like he seems like a very no nonsense kind of dude as well. I mean, he obviously is the director of Requiem, and there have been some more plot threads that have been unraveled a little bit here by some people in the community that I've seen talking about how Richtofen has a son who is maybe dead, and maybe like Cortifex killed his son, or like Mr. Peaks is like Richtofen's son, or Mr. Peaks is like Cortifex's son, or something like that. And like there's like that's why Mr. Peaks like a child's soul, and you hear like the child laughing. So like there's a thing going around right now where like Mr. Peaks is either like Richtofen's dead kid or Cortifex's dead kid as well, because also in Shinonuma they confirmed that Syraxis and Cortifex also have a kid, but we don't know exactly what happened to that kid. So everyone's pointing the finger at Mr. Peaks, because like really the only remnant of any kind of childlike connection to the other world, because obviously that childlike connection in Ether was Samantha when Samantha was a child, but now the only real connection to that now is Mr. Peaks, and the ethereal orbs allegedly also have their own consciousness, and perhaps the ethereal orbs for like, I don't know, the Outbreak Easter egg 2, let's say, for example, could literally be a child spirit, or like this really crazy stuff. So it would make sense for Richtofen to really play a prominent role in 2024. I mean, obviously he's revealed at the end of the Forsaken Easter egg, but for other reasons, that's interesting. That's really interesting that he confirmed that.
I'll try and find the clip, but I definitely did see it. I didn't dream it.
Okay. Well, if Cosmic is able to find the clip, I'm going to edit it in right now. So yeah, I mean, I think there's definitely going to be some very, very interesting story implications for Dark Ether coming up for Treyarch's next game. And again, I'm not entirely sure about that whole child spirit, child soul kind of a thing. I'm sure a lot of the Twitter fanatics would be able to correct me on things that I said.
Oh, correct you indeed.
Hey, correct me all you want. I mean, it's definitely a newer plot thread, though, so I think even they might not be able to correct me a whole lot, because it seems like a new discovery by a lot of people, like reading the Cold War intel and trying to connect some of the dots for Vanguard and other radios from Vanguard and stuff. So I don't know. It's very speculative, but at the same time, it's interesting.
Mm-hmm. No, I mean, yeah. Again, I'm excited for where they're kind of taking the story, and I didn't read too much of the intel, and like I mean, I know there's not really much intel in Vanguard as it is, and I know Cold War obviously had a lot of intel.
Yeah, compared to Cold War, yeah.
Yeah, at least, yeah. I have not read a lot of it, so before the next Black Ops game comes out, I definitely do need to catch up and know all like the linear stuff.
There's some interesting bits in there, man. There's some very interesting stuff.
I know there's some crazy things in there. I mean, I remember like from like World at War to like Black Ops 3, end of Black Ops 3, I knew like everything. Like I could, it's like I was a Chronorium, right? Because I had all the zombies information in my head.
Mm-hmm.
But like I feel like with Cold War New Start, I tried to enjoy the gameplay more, and I wanted to get invested in the story as well, but I don't know. I'm one of the people, I think it's harder. I think the intel system is better than anything we've had before for telling story.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know. I like cutscenes. I would love long cutscenes, but I know that's not possible.
For sure. I prefer cutscenes too. I think it's, when you emphasize the gameplay aspect of Cold War, they did a really great job with blending the storyline and gameplay aspects of Cold War, because now what you do in the game affects how much knowledge you have of the game too. So you have to deliberately go in and collect the intel. Oh, but it's tedious and it's a fetch quest and it's whatever, right? And I thought you said you didn't want to play the game forever and ever, Jason, because the weapon levels in Vanguard were super high and you don't want to play the game for hours on end. This is different context. This is basically apples and oranges, where literally you are wasting time in the game on one fixated point, Whereas this is literally story progression and learning more about the universe of the Dark Ether. And you can collect artifacts and documents and radio logs to listen and learn more about the story. I'm not sitting there with the MP40 all frickin' day trying to get to level 70. I'm going through Outbreak and I'm looking through every nook and cranny, all the different areas, and I'm exploring. I'm actively engaging. I'm actively like thinking of the story, and it's fun. But yeah, there's definitely some interesting stuff. There's definitely some interesting stuff in there about the, especially like with the Forsaken intel too, because it talks about these like Dark Ether cults and these Dark Ether like zealots and people like Sparagmos and where all this came from and how the Crystal Axe was forged. And it's really insane. It's insane to think about that this much detail went into it, and Forsaken really tried to set the groundwork a little bit for Vanguard in a roundabout way, but it's very interesting stuff to read, and especially the audio logs too. Some of the audio logs are like, oh damn, I'd love to see this as a cutscene, which, you know, obviously we all want cutscenes. Cutscenes are the thing that you would want, preferably in the game. And that is something that I hope they maybe try to do for 2024 is for the audio logs. Because I know you can't necessarily do that for like a document or whatever. Unless you want to put voiceover to a document too. But then it's like, you're basically making everything an audio log. And I know they want people to like read things. And different kinds of interactive media. So I think for like the audio logs or like particular radios, have cutscenes for particular ones. Not every one of them, but particular ones that are very important to the story. Like, you need to pay attention to this piece of intel specifically. Not to say the other pieces of intel aren't important, but this one's really important, and really watch what happens in this one. So I feel like there could be that kind of different types of intel that could really engage people a lot. Where it's like, oh, there's 10 pieces of intel that have cutscenes, but then the other audio intels don't have cutscenes. Well, why is that? What kind of secrets are in those cutscenes that we can decipher? So I think that could really benefit them.
No, I mean, definitely. Yeah, I mean, because I think with the audio logs, right? Again, I like the ones that we have in Vanguard because it kind of, I don't know, it makes you feel like you're more involved in the story. I feel like, right? Having them, you know, the actual radio's going on.
Right.
Having them actually like playing in the game itself, and I do enjoy that. I don't know. I think it's like a nostalgia factor as well, where I feel like the maps told more in older games, but in reality, no, they didn't, because Cold War and I guess even some parts of Vanguard. I mean, obviously Vanguard, you know, is a giant disadvantage. Just because it's not like,
because it's Vanguard.
Yeah, it's Vanguard, right? So I mean, I'm sure Vanguard was its own fledged game. It'd have a lot of intel tie-ins through, first of all, audio logs. And I'm sure Vanguard would have its own proper intel system, because obviously it doesn't really have it.
I'd like to believe that too.
Yeah, obviously. But no, I mean, what Vanguard does offer, I do kind of like. In terms of like the, you know, again, the radios, and like you can hear stuff, you know, kind of what like, you know, story stuff, but. Yeah, I think there's definitely a balance maybe that they could do with the future games. And maybe potentially some cutscenes as well that you could earn by collecting intel, where you could actually see events. That'd be cool.
Exactly. That'd be really cool.
Extinction has a really cool intel system. If you ever want to go explore it, it's definitely worth it if you have a little look at it. I mean, zombies could do that, but for anyone who hasn't played Extinction, go look at the intel system, because you learn a lot from it. So.
Well, there you go. Sounds pretty interesting.
Very cool.
I guess that's about it, man. I mean, wrapping things up here. We talked a lot about Treyarch and comparing them to the other studios and production quality, and you know, them being overworked. You know, talked about gameplay systems. Talked about that Nolan North thing that I did not know about. That's very fascinating. You know, we just talked about some casual stuff, and we also talked about some like really important details and some really important things, because, you know, as insignificant as something might be, where it's like, bro, it's just an attachment, come on, okay, but it's literally also how it reflects how people play the game, and it reflects how, you know, the game was made in the first place too. But anyways, you have anything to say before we wrap up this episode of the podcast?
just that Treyarch are getting worked into the ground. So thank you. Even if something isn't great like Vanguard Zombies, we can still appreciate that you are working constantly. So thank you.
Yeah, I think I think my final thought before we go is kind of to branch off of what Cosmic said there about, we appreciate you guys trying. We appreciate you guys trying the best you can to get things moving and to get things going and to try to get some great experiences. But of course, we're gonna criticize those experiences if things are bad too.
Yes,
so, with Vanguard Zombies, obviously the community has been very critical about it.
But they've improved on it.
But they've improved on it.
If we didn't criticize it, it would be more objective stuff, which we wouldn't have wanted. So, yeah, because I mean, the product at the end of the day was Shinonuma. Even if it was just Shinonuma, it's the best version of Shinonuma by far. So, they've done something. So
it does show that they do care. They are trying the best they can. And, with them having to work on literally every single game right now, it's, thank you guys for putting all that hard work. Thank you guys for really trying the best you can. And also, not to say that Sledgehammer and Infinity Ward aren't trying. I just want to know what the hell is going on that Treyarch has always been picking up the slack recently. So, I don't know. Yeah. We just want answers. We're just confused. We don't hate the other studios. We just want answers, and we're confused because we're fans.
I like stuff that they've done. I mean, I like exactly multiplayer. I like AW Zombies.
There you go. I mean, there you go. We're just confused fans, and we're hypercritical because we care. So, there you go. Thank you everybody so much for watching episode 95 of the Division Z podcast. What was your favorite part? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments, and make sure you guys check out all the links down below in the description so you stay up to date with everything that we do. Division Z's Twitter, if you want to join our Discord server, all that kind of stuff. Check out both of our channels, and I guess that's about it. Have a fantastic rest of your day or night, depending on where you are in this crazy world, and we'll see you guys next time. Peace out.
Bye, everyone.